Let's place our cursor over the Directive tab and click on it. In previous videos, we have discussed the parameters of funds regarding income. Now let's discuss the approval of funds. There are 3 stages when working with income. All the company's earnings during a period is called revenue. Here we have revenue funds. All the set-aside amounts to these funds are calculated from revenue. Amounts that are not set aside to these funds become marginal income. Here we have another set of funds, marginal income funds. Amounts to these funds are calculated from marginal income. The remaining amount becomes corrected income. Here we have a set of corrected income funds. The amount now left after this step is seen here. This is the amount we now have available to pay for expenses and bills. During the approval of funds, we go from the top of the form to the bottom of this section. All right, let's open the revenue block. We see here our list of income types with their totals that were received during this financial period. Let's open revenue funds. Now we see here only one row, one fund. In using the ASMX program, it is possible to have many funds. In the calculated field, we see the amount set aside, which was calculated automatically by the program according to the settings in the funds. As you remember from the video tutorial about setting up funds, what income types we use and what percents are taken. At any point when working with the FP directive, we may click on the hyperlink with the fund name. A pop-up form with the settings of the fund opens. We may look them up or change them if necessary. Let's take a look at marginal income funds. If we agree with the amount that ASMX has calculated, we click here, selecting the fund. Now we see that the approval button has been activated. As you can see here, in this button, we see the number of selected funds. Let's click on the button. We see that amount has been approved and has changed the amount available for the fund. This is simply an approval and has not yet transferred the money to the fund. The amount will be transferred to the fund when we close the FP period. But we can use this money for approving purchase orders and bills in the same FP period. We can select only one fund, or we can select all of the funds by clicking here. Then we can approve the amounts to all funds. So if we have configured our funds correctly, income types and percentages, approving the amounts are now instant. If you would like to change the approved amount, click on this calculator icon. A pop-up form opens. It shows approval of the fund in detail by income types. Here you can see all income types that we have selected in configuring the fund. Regarding each of the income types, we see the whole picture, the amount of income, and how much of this amount is available after the approval. Based on our previous settings of 1%, we have calculated for approval $169,000. And we now have $13,182,000 available. We can also see the percentages and the calculated amounts regarding each income type. We can change the amounts in these fields. Let's change the amount to $100,000. And click Approve. In this row, we see that the numbers have changed. We have one calculated amount and another approved. Using this function, we can control and change, if necessary, how much money we approve to each fund, depending on how much we need to put for savings, for approving purchase orders, and for bills. We cannot approve a larger amount of income than we have received. Let's continue in the marginal income fund and try to approve more. Let's put in $1,500,000. and click Approved. Let's click in Corrected Income and see if we have enough. Now we have a negative $500,000 on repairs. This is not a problem yet because we have not exceeded the gross amount of our income. Let's look to see what happens if we exceed it. Let's click on the calculator icon again and put in here $50 million. We are choosing large numbers intentionally for the purpose of illustrating what would happen. Now click on Approve. You see here the total in this row residual is now in red, meaning it is over the amount available. This is one of the areas ASMX checks automatically when the FP period is closing. A period with income in red cannot be closed. The colors here are the same as in assets, blue background for income in the positive, and red when the income is in the negative. In working with a financial planning directive, we are dealing with a few dozen funds and many purchase orders and bills, and such a situation is quite common. ASMX will alert you by the red color in the background of this row. In such situations, we need to look at the approved amounts to funds backward from the bottom to the top, searching for negative amounts. These minuses show us the problem in the upper block. For example, here in the corrected income block, we see a negative $49 million. This means in the marginal income funds, we approved too much. Let's correct this error. Take a look at marginal income funds. Click on the calculator again. The available amount is in the negative. We can change this manually, but this time let's click on the hyperlink under Calculated. The amount we clicked on appears in this field. Then we click on Approve. Now you can see the overall corrections made to the FP. Note, approving amounts to revenue income funds, marginal income funds, and corrected income funds all work in the same way.